Pops, go, Carter. You should be the first one. Go.
You can't get too close.
Let his kids go. Where's daughter?
After nearly 16 years of incarceration, Max B is now back on the streets and fighting relentlessly for his freedom, maintaining optimism in the face of repeated failures. The entire scene is buzzing now that the wave has officially returned home. However, not everyone is celebrating. Jim Jones is reportedly feeling the heat because Max's return has brought their previous problems back into the public eye. And people are already making fun of him severely on the internet. The trolling is out of control, and it all ends up right at Jim's door. Even though Max hasn't been home for 3 days, you can already find him everywhere. When you go onto social media, he appears once more. He is examining new chains in a jewelry store one moment. The next, he appears in front of a crowd during a birthday celebration. He turns up in the club immediately after that.
New York.
Yes, sir.
Fresh out the can.
Damn.
Over 18 stretch.
Damn.
They gave me 7 and 5.
Then, as if nothing had happened, he shows up for a Jets game. It seems as though every second the camera crew was glued to him. This is undoubtedly not a moment of peaceful return home. Max threw himself back into the limelight and is enjoying every second of it. This energy is being adored by people. One of the most anticipated homecomings in hip-hop history is Max B's return. Additionally, fans have been waiting for the wave to resume for over 10 years. He didn't just return home, so it makes perfect sense that he's showing up everywhere. He immediately made news when he went out. One day after leaving, he even asked his girlfriend to marry him, making his first 24 hours into a feature-length film. Drama follows all that excitement, though, as a big comeback is sure to stir up long-standing issues. His long-running fight with Jim Jones is currently the biggest storm, but people are already discussing past animals, snitching stories, envy, and everyone picking sides. Jim has been attempting to disassociate himself from anything related to Max B for years. He often stated in interviews that he didn't want to talk about Max or have anything to do with him. He even said something rude in one interview, F Max B. Later on, he emphasized that he would never forget, even though he might forgive one day. That essentially indicated that the door was closed. However, Jim's name was bound to resurface now that Max is free and back in the public eye. And that didn't take very long. And 50 Cent was the one who lit the match out of all the people who could have rekindled the flame. To be honest, no one was surprised by it. Jim Jones and 50 Cent already have a long-running story of their own. Thus, it was ideal for 50 to begin engaging in intense trolling as soon as Max B returned home. Naturally, he did what he is known for on Instagram. He stirred up the entire atmosphere with a single post. He posted a meme of Rico eating a banana from the film Belly and called him Jim Jones, essentially implying that Jim was out there acting as though he was spying on folks. Then 50 added his trademark crazy caption, which said something like, "Homie said Max home. The harbor is crowded. Jimmy is going to give these guys a dime. Ha ha!" To continue the taunting, even included a video of Max B on FaceTime with DJ Who Kid, and everyone else jumped in after 50 started.
Max B when he gets out.
Max B.
Okay.
Max, out of here. People don't play with me with that conversation. Ain't nobody can tell me nothing about that. That's the first thing I say. You heard?
Okay.
That's how you feel. That end the deal for anybody. There ain't no Max talking about conversation.
Fans, bloggers, and hip-hop pages began posting their own remarks on social media, changing the entire circumstance into a brand new drama storm. There was more to this than random noise. It was delving into a conflict with a convoluted past. For those who are unaware, Jim Jones and Max B's feud was never just a minor rap spat. It was intense, intimate, and tense. In the mid-2000s, Jim and Max were rushing around Harlem together, moving like brothers, recording constantly, and behaving as though nothing could separate them. But Max had already led a wild life before anyone knew him. After serving 8 years on a robbery conviction, he had just returned home in 2005. After landing, he reintroduced himself as Max Begavil, a moniker he came up with by combining Biggie Smalls, Machiavelli, Tupac, and Jay-Z. When Max returned to Harlem, the diplomats were handling a lot of business, and the entire city was humming. Everything seemed bigger than life because of the timing. Jim Jones, Cameron, and Rue Santana locked down the entire city while releasing anthem after anthem that defined an entire era. Max and Jim connected through Cam, and they clicked right away. They were supposed to manage the game together. Jim introduced Max to Harlem icon Dame Grease and signed him to his Bird Gang label, and things began to move quickly after that. When Max released his debut mixtape, $1 Million Baby, in 2006, it quickly became popular. He sounded entirely different due to his confident demeanor, wavy style, and raspy, melodious voice. Stack Bundles was another up-and-coming sensation with Bird Gang at the same time. With Stack and Max B in his squad, Jim Jones had a formidable team that other crews could only imagine. Together, they were influencing Harlem's future. Max turned to become the secret weapon behind the melodies and hooks that caused Jim's songs to blow up. Additionally, songs like Baby Girl became local hits. There were rumors circulating around the street that Max was the true creative force behind Jim's new sound. At that point, the stress began to seep in. Max's street instincts became more active as his popularity grew. And the combination of celebrity and old habits forced him into circumstances that would ultimately alter his entire existence. He was also dealing with Gina Conway, his ex-girlfriend at this time, and their situation was rapidly becoming problematic. Gina told Max about Alan J. Plowden, a flashy guy she knew, a man who lives quickly. What are your feelings? How are you feeling?
How you feel? How you feeling
I feel
right
righteous.
now?
I'm feeling good.
Feeling good,
I
feeling
know what
good.
it is. I'm grateful.
Okay.
I'm thankful.
Love that, love
God is
that.
Gunnett then intervened and completely changed the atmosphere. Uncle Murder, 50 Cent, and Yayo appeared on a private jet laughing, joking, and demonstrating their lack of worry. Not even for a moment. 50 couldn't help but stir things up. With that trademark smirk that always makes the internet buzz, he jokingly stated that Bleak needs to fight back, if nothing else. He demonstrated that he still has the ability to rock a room and elevate a straightforward drama to a spectacular moment.
Lister.
Okay.
Anybody
Okay.
that got a sack, pause. Look me up. I'm gonna get you right.
For me, it's like Yao maintained the same steady demeanor in public, being composed and focused on his own lane, as if nothing could divert him. However, he disclosed something behind closed doors that caused folks to double-take. He claimed that at 4 a.m, Nori contacted and instructed him to maintain harmony. Yayo was fully aware of the significance of that type of call. He had worked in the field long enough to know how some connections and covert partnerships may subtly sway a whole story before anybody realizes. Additionally, he made people aware of something they often forget. He had already been broadening his horizons, but some musicians didn't start podcasting until their music began to slow down. While remaining low-key, he had been creating companies, visiting other nations, and accumulating genuine wealth. Yayo made it apparent that he didn't panic under duress. He made it through the wild Gunnett era, ancient grudges, and prison renown. Therefore, he was not going to be shaken by a small media drama just yet.
Way, a prostitute who'd been with Plowden told her boyfriend Charlie Wingate, aka Max B, a rapper, about the men's money.
In other words, I don't become enamored with the underscore man. I simply maintain my humility and keep going. You are aware. What am I saying? Man, we simply dig into the money over here. My response would be to eat that smoking duck in Morocco while aboard a private jet. Yayo didn't even blink when asked if Jim Jones had gone too far with that smokes hard remark. The inquiry did not unsettle him in the slightest. However, fans did not take it lightly. These weren't random internet voices. They were actual street-certified men. And everyone knew that once pride got involved, a few careless remarks could quickly turn into something much messier. The disparity in how their lives were progressing added to the complexity of the matter. While taking flights, filming video in Morocco, and getting ready to start his own dispensary business, Yayo dismissed the entire situation. He was loving life, growing, and advancing. In the meantime, he abruptly brought up the fact that some of the rappers who transitioned into podcasting were not propelled ahead by the same wave. Although their concerts were lively, they lacked the genuine attraction that draws viewers in. Listen, a lot of guys enjoy going to the gym. Have you ever seen Jim or Memphis Bleek go alone? Yes, you also mentioned something that folks hardly ever express out loud. Gunnett has long been viewed as the industry's antagonist, the group that everyone preferred to point the finger at. He therefore didn't consider it to be a serious personal problem when Bleek and Jones began making fun of him. He thought it was just politics. He believed that some platforms, particularly those associated with Rock Nation or organizations like Drink Champs, were banding together and attempting to disparage him simply for speaking candidly on other programs. He made it apparent that neither Bleek nor Jones was a concern for him. He was not at all stressed by that section. He was worried about the erratic individuals in their immediate vicinity. According to him, it is not the artists themselves who have the power to escalate a routine argument into something hazardous, but rather their entourage. Yayo continued to claim that he now leads a completely new lifestyle, emphasizing growth, business, and travel. He had already pushed past his old habits and street patterns, so the last thing he wanted was to fall back into them.
I made the credit. I made the hooks. I made the melodies. Yeah. I made the shit, dog. I'm the man.
What am I saying? I simply hate. Yayo began to wonder if Nori had unintentionally, whether on purpose or not. His remarks on Jay-Z set the whole thing in motion. Everything reminded him too much of the politics of the old rap game. If you want doors to remain open, choose a side. Stay within your group and don't talk about specific powerful people. The pressure was the same, but it was encased in podcast culture rather than record labels. He also made a point about something that people are reluctant to acknowledge. Some rappers were unable to even move freely when they entered the podcast industry. They were hindered by their affiliations. On some subjects, they were unable to speak. They were unable to criticize specific people. Rather than operating an autonomous platform, they behaved more like they were still under contract with a label. Yayo made it plain that he wasn't going to exchange honesty for industry acceptance, refused to act in such a manner, and refused to let partnerships silence him. I believe Bleck was more of a Nori-funded promotional push. Do you understand what I mean? I realize what I said about J-Z.Yayo observed that many other musicians were having difficulty launching their podcasts. While he continued to leap into interviews and amass substantial numbers, despite having significant star power, big names like Jim Jones, Fabulous, Jadakiss, and even Joe Budden's shows didn't perform as well as anticipated. Honesty was the problem, not skill. These presentations moved too cautiously, as if everyone was afraid to tread on the toes of industry heavyweights. While audiences wanted genuine conversation and unadulterated enthusiasm, Yayo, on the other hand, was moving entirely differently. By appearing on well-known channels like Vladivon, fostering genuine relationships without expecting anything in return. He was demonstrating his love for smaller producers. That's why he received so many accolades. He gave recognition to the underdogs, grinders, and people who don't often receive recognition from big-name rappers. His voice sounded genuine and invigorating because he wasn't acting overly important for anyone. Do you understand what I mean? As I mentioned earlier, I'm never concerned about the rap. I'm concerned about the foolish in your altar who is about to lose it. Do you understand what I mean? However, that results in bail money, attorney fees, and other do you understand what I mean? I am aware that things can get serious. Thus, I'm not concerned. I allowed to speak. Man, I'm doing a lot of business over here. I'm not concerned about them. However, we could always engage in home battles if they so want. As if I had a lovely place. In our 20s, we were purchasing homes. We could do it too, you vehicles? However, I prefer to remain modest and don't boast or display anything I truly don't give a damn about by the end of the discussion. Yayo was adamant about what he thought caused the entire situation. After one candid conversation about Jay-Z, the dominoes started to fall. Jim Jones shot off from one direction, Bleek rushed at him from another. and Nori slid in to try to defuse the situation as if he were the unofficial referee. It didn't seem random to Yayo because he refused to bite his tongue. It seemed as though the business was reacting simultaneously. However, Yayo remained focused and locked in rather than reacting erratically or falling into an endless cycle. He increased his business ventures, made international trips, closed new partnerships, and even hinted that he would soon start his own podcast. He was not slowed down by the situation either. In fact, it made his name even more well-known. Yayo is already ahead of the competition as everyone watches to see which rapper turned podcaster will emerge next. He doesn't feel constrained by labels, stifled by covert affiliations, or anxious about what people are saying about him on the internet. He's too preoccupied with developing the next chapter on his own terms and leveling up.